Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Welcome, welcome, and thank you for joining this session of Curiosity Talks brought to you by Wisdom Circle and Marzi. These talks are a unique way of bringing interesting perspectives, inspiring life journeys, and ideas for you to mull over in your explorations ahead. Our esteemed speaker for the day is Dr. Ali Khwaja, founder of Banjara Academy, and an individual who has carved out his own path and been a freelancer, ensuring that work is joy every day. His prime focus is on empowering individuals to help themselves. It is our privilege to have you with us, Dr. Khwaja, and I extend a warm welcome to you on behalf of Wisdom Circle and Marzi. With your permission, I'd like to share a slide where we captured answers of the people who are attending on some questions that we had asked them. And it was very nice to see that almost 40% are actively looking for a new path, and almost 35% are curious to explore something new. And I thought these were good numbers for us to start on, where a big percentage want a second innings as well as want to find a life of purpose. So, with that, Dr. Khwaja, let me begin the questions for the day. So, when people hear the phrase reinventing life after 50, they very often imagine a very dramatic change. But in your experience, what does reinvention actually look like at this stage of life?
At any stage of life for that matter. See, invention or reinventing and all that has been glorified. When we say inventions, we think of Newton sitting under the tree and the apple dropping on his head and suddenly getting inspired, or Archimedes jumping out of the bathtub and saying that, hey, eureka, and all that. In real life, that doesn't happen. Reinvention is a continuous process. And we need not actually use any number like 50 and then decide, this is the second innings, which means to say that we are limiting our life to 100. Many of you, I'm sure, will cross that and go further ahead. So your halfway point has still not come. It may be a few years ahead. But yes, reinventing is a continuous process and it should be done. And it should be done based on so far what have been your experiences and what you are looking forward to. See, more emphasis on the future than in the past. Some people who do want to reinvent or bring about a significant change, they are stuck in the past. They say, no, this I tried, it didn't work, or this is not okay, or this I don't believe in, and things like that. When the world is changing, when everything is changing at such a faster pace, what I believed and what I experienced even 5 years back, forget about long ago, I think I need to give a rethink and ask myself. So it does not matter whether you are 50, 60, 70, whatever it is, but yes, beyond a certain time, if you are 20, 30, 40, you're still in that process of trying to build up your career. You're trying to, settle down, give a nice growth to your children. You're still answerable to your parents. There's so many things which keep holding you back. But generally, as you rightly use the number 50, that's when these things start easing off. So children probably are getting settled. You have some financial stability. You're not all that ambitious as you used to be. Your responsibility to your parents has started reducing. So that's a time roughly that we should start looking at. You use the right word, reinventing, which means to say, can I find something new within myself? Invention has to be inside, not outside. The world is already reinventing itself on a day to day basis. But where do I fit in, and what is the reinventing that I need to do, and make it into a continuous process?
That's why I think, Dr. Khwaja, people say don't retire, re-attire.
Correct, correct. Absolutely, absolutely.
So we see that we are living longer. As you said, many of us might touch 100 or more
Yes.
than previous generations.
Yeah.
So, how should people emotionally and mentally prepare for what could be a very long second innings of life and something that we had not planned for really?
Correct. Long and short again are, comparative terms. I mean, if you allow me to go on a lighter note, there was this gentleman who was celebrating his 50th wedding anniversary. And people said, wow, 50 years you've lived with your partner. How did it feel? And he said, oh, it felt like 5 minutes underwater. So that's how people look at different things. So long inning, short inning, as you know, you look at anything. Take a simple thing like you sitting and watching a movie. It's a very interesting movie, and when it comes to an end, you say, "Oh, 2.5 hours already over." Whereas it's a boring movie, and 15 minutes into the movie, you say, oh my, how long is this going to continue? So, long and short again are comparative terms. But yes, if since we are talking about numbers, if we have crossed that 50 point, which is generally considered to be the halfway point, and at whatever stage you are at, you may be 51, you may be 74, whatever it is. The point is that yes, we have to plan, and this is something which I'm finding not many people are doing it.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned retirement also, see, retirement is a very, very important aspect which happens to people. And most people, you will not believe, are not ready for the emotional aspect of retirement. When they
Yeah.
talk about retirement, they only talk about, have I built my own house? Do I have my pension? Do I have a vehicle? Are my children settled? Do I have health insurance? Yes, they are all equally important, but at the emotional level, what am I going to do? And those are the things that we need to work on. Keeping this, parameter of, let's say, if you're 50, then another 50 years. If you're 70, then at least another 30 years, whatever the thing is. So we should have that vision to plan ahead.
And also, as our knees begin to creak, we realize that our bodies are aging. So,
Yeah.
how important is it to adapt our lifestyle and physical activity instead of resisting aging?
Yes, yes. That's another very sad thing that I come across sometimes, people wanting to resist. See, 50 plus, sometimes even 60 plus are the time when you are probably in very responsible
Hmm.
positions. And you feel that thing of, being omnipotent and nobody can do anything. I am the great guy and I am the boss and I am this and I'm that. If we start understanding that I cannot do things which I used to, it's a very natural phenomenon. And the earlier we accept it, the easier it is for us. It is not an ego issue, it is nothing, it is a very normal thing which we have to understand and take it into account. So, this thing of acceptance of what happens to the body after the age, and here I'm referring only to the body, not to the
Yeah.
mind, we'll come to that later, but the
Yeah.
body definitely ages. That is a proven fact. At
Yeah.
the same time, one great thing that has happened recently is that so many body parts are now replaceable. Somebody's knee is given and they can get total knee replacement. Somebody's eyes are not good and a cataract operation today is a few hours, and by evening you are back home. Your hearing has gone and you can get a cochlear implant and have as good a hearing as you had before. So taking that into consideration, but the fact remains that we need to start accepting, and ideally, if the acceptance comes before. Today, if my hearing is perfect, if I start telling myself, tomorrow my hearing may not be as good as it is. So, what am I going to do? That will really help me to face that future.
But I think, Dr. Khwaja, society is also not very kind towards aging. You know,
Yes, yes, yes.
that's
That is
uh, that,
right.
that's
But
something that people have to face.
yes, yes. And particularly after the advent of social media,
Yes,
youth and beauty and all these things are being
absolutely.
flaunted so much.
Yeah.
Somebody has gone on a vacation to some exotic places, and there you are showing off their thing, and you say, "Oh my, can I do that? It's so tiring. Will I be able to climb those hills, or will I be able to do this and all that?" But yes, as you said, the most important thing is stop comparing. You are you, and the whole world is different. Let anybody say anything, and particularly on social media, you say, "This is what I am. I am so many years old, and I
Yeah.
have the possibility of these physical aspects which I may have to face. How am I facing it?" That's it.
Yeah. Such a big part of life is self-acceptance, I think.
Correct.
A lot of people become socially limited also after retirement or
Hmm.
as they age. So, how important is it to continue meeting new people? It's so difficult to make new friends at a particular age or staying connected to different kinds of people.
Yes. Actually speaking, if you look at it a little more liberally, it is not at all difficult. One of the reasons why some elders find it difficult to make friends with new people and particularly younger people is because they want to live in the past. If I
Hmm.
meet a person who's much younger than me, and if I start off by saying, in 1976, when I was doing these, that's it, that person shuts down. If I am willing to learn, as we were talking just now, if I am a halfway point or three-fourth point or whatever it is, I've still not got life ahead of me. So if I meet somebody younger or somebody who is different, can I learn from that person? Very, very successful people like Dale Carnegie and all that have said, you can spend 2 months trying to get somebody interested in you. You will not succeed as much as if you spend 2 days taking interest in that person. No, that's a very, very simple formula. The moment I meet somebody, it could be in my neighborhood, it could be in the club, it could be in any place. If I can just start off by asking, please tell me more about yourself and showing genuine interest.
Yeah.
It's so easy. You can even go down to little children. You see a little child playing and you go to him and say, "Hey, you seem to be very good at throwing this ball. How did you do it? Where did you learn?" And there he is. He'll tell you, "Yes, uncle, I'm this, that." And he'll become your best friend. So this is the secret of the thing. We can make new friends. We can have, and we should have. We should definitely start widening our social circles and all that. For example, you mentioned retirement. See, after retirement, my colleagues and my office people and all those people are gone. And even if I want to keep in touch, they're not very happy. Particularly if I was in a responsible position, I was their senior
Yeah.
boss, they're not very
Yeah.
comfortable talking to me. So why should I? Then there are
Yeah.
so many other people whom I can, and I should do that.
I think a very important lesson for the younger generation to continue making friends and meeting new people.
Yes,
In our generation, Doctor, we used to do it. There was constant engagement.
correct.
I think today the world is more virtual.
Yeah. In fact, I always tell people, I do work with people who are retiring, and I tell them that don't wait for your retirement. Start building a new surplus and just visualize that tomorrow you do not have an office or a profession or whatever it is. How
Yeah.
would you like to build up your social activities and what would you like to do? Can you start off right now if you do that? In fact, one of my colleagues who recently retired from a very senior and a very responsible position, he told me something very wonderful. He said, 6 months before retiring, I started taking interest in domestic matters. I started going into the kitchen and helping my wife. I was, putting out the trash to the trash man and talking to him, when he comes to collect the trash. He said, I purposely started doing that because the day I retired, I knew that I've already built up my social circle.
Yes, that network is so important for us. And you have often spoken about emotional well being in simple but powerful ways. So, what role does laughter, lightness, and even comedy play in
Yeah.
aging well?
The first thing is to understand the definition of sense of humor. Sense of humor is not cracking jokes at other people's expenses or making fun of somebody or using satire and all that. That is actually, according to me, a lack of sense of humor. Sense of humor is when you can laugh at yourself, when you can look at yourself very lightly. A student of mine was doing research right now on this thing called why do people laugh when somebody falls down? Have you noticed the number of people who laugh or giggle or whatever it is when somebody, falls
Yes, yes.
down? No, that is definitely not sense of humor.
Yeah.
Imagine if I were to fall down. Now, when I fall down, if I can look up to the other people and laugh and say, "Hey, I have fallen down," that is what is sense of humor. So, good, clean sense of humor, being able to laugh at yourself, taking issues in a light-hearted manner, even admitting your own blunders. Yeah, I did this, and I think it was stupid of me to do that. The other day, I was telling my daughter, I made a mistake when I was to, fix up a date for a particular assignment. I looked at the April calendar instead of the May calendar, and I told her that this is the thing, and she went ahead and made the preparations. And then I realized this. So the first thing that I did is I told her, I think you got the stupidest daddy in the whole world. And she was burst out laughing. And then I explained why this happened. Now, the thing is, if I had not taken it in that style, if I had just said, no, 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 that was the wrong calendar and this and that, she would have got angry with me. What is it, Daddy? Can't you be clear on that? I have spent so much time doing this. If you had just told me that it is May and not April, I would have done it differently. See how your relationship gets strained in small, small things. And that is what is sense of humor. And of course, even watching some, when you're watching some serials and all that, there is a lot of research which shows that people who watch violence or, whatever terrorism and this and that, they actually start hardening their thinking. But people who watch serials or movies which are light-hearted, their demeanor, their thinking pattern itself becomes lighter. And that is where the emotional part of it comes.
And also, Doctor, doesn't gratitude play a big role in this?
Oh my, I cannot, emphasize more on gratitude. Gratitude can form your basic foundation of life. And that too, when we are talking about the latter years of our life. If I'm 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, yes, I have gratitude. My parents gave birth to me, they brought me up, they did this, they did that. That's a very natural and a very expected form of gratitude. But once I have lived certain years of my life and I have had good and bad experiences, people have been nice to me, people have been bad to me. The mistake that we make, we focus only on the negative. So many years back, such and such person cheated me, and because of that, how much I had to suffer. This person, whom I consider as a friend, is actually not being very nice to me, and this is what is happening. I'm not denying what they are saying is right. It is right. But the fact remains, how many people you can actually make a checklist of all the people with whom you interact on a repetitive basis. Make two columns. On one side, people who are not nice to you, who cheat you, who let you down, who are rude or whatever it is. On the other side, make a list of those who are quietly, simply, humbly nice to you. We are surrounded by such people, but we take them for granted. It could be a simple person like a security man outside your building. If he has got a smile on your face, the moment he sees you, he just jumps up fast and opens the gate for you, or he waves out to you. How much acknowledgement do we give? Yes, you may say on festival time, I give him a bonus and all that. That's not the point. Can you stop and say, it's so nice to see you smiling? It makes my day better. That is what we need to, keep working on a continuous basis, keep listening out, and keep getting more and more onto people who are good to us.
Yes, that's so important. I think laughter, lightness, and gratitude, such an integral part of growing older.
Yes.
To come to a serious part, I think cognitive decline is a fear that many people have.
Mhm.
So what are some practical ways that we can keep our mind engaged, active, and put away that fear of this decline?
Yes. See, as I was telling you, physical health care is remarkably progressing. I may not be exaggerating much if I say that 20 years from now, if your heart gives up completely and your cardiologist said, no, there's nothing that I can do, your heart is just going to pack up on you. Probably you will go to the nearest mall, ask the fellow there, where is the heart shop? Go up to that heart shop and look at it and say, no, I don't want this Chinese stuff. Give me something which is little more durable. And then you will bargain and say, if I give you my old heart, will you give me a discount on that? Get the heart and give it to your doctor, who will replace your old heart with a new one. And by evening, he'll wave out and say, okay, you can go home. Does it sound like a fairy tale? I may not be around, but please remember this 20 years from now. We are moving in that direction. Every physical part of the body is replaceable.
Yeah.
The only thing which is not replaceable is the brain. And that is something that we need to really take care of. Things like dementia, cognitive, ability is going down, Alzheimer's disease,
Yeah.
even to a great extent, even till now, Parkinson's. These are not curable as of now. Maybe hopefully the breakthrough may come sometime, but as of now, they are not, replaceable or curable. So we need to do something about it. Now, what is it that we need to do? It is very simple. Regardless of what your age is, you may not even be 50, you may be 20 for all I care. But what I want you to do is use all parts of your brain. Howard Gardner told us a minimum of 7 different intellects that we have. It has now been expanded to many more. So you have a logical intellect, you have a creative intellect, you have an interpersonal intellect, you have an emotional intellect. Use as many of them as possible. Most of the time, once you select a profession, you're using only a specific intelligence. Let's say you're a banker. You're
Yeah.
only using your mathematical and mathological intelligence because all your work is in numbers.
Yeah.
Now, if you are caught up in that, if you can use your free time to do something which is spatial, which is creative, which is emotional, you start using the other parts of your brain. So there is sufficient, uh, evidence to show that those who use all parts of the brain can battle to a great extent the cognitive, decline. They will still continue to be good in their thinking. There are innumerable examples of that. I personally come across so many people who, when I see them, that they are in their ripe old age, 80s, 90s, whatever it is, but when I find them cognitively very alert, I just sit and talk to them what their life has been. And I realize that they have looked at life far beyond their profession, their routine, and whatever it is. They have those type of, interests, and that is what has kept them, at the cognition level, it has kept them alert. And that is something we cannot afford to neglect.
So it is true when they say that creative pursuits like painting, dance, or learning new language, etc., that contributes a lot in midlife and beyond. It contributes to keeping your mind active.
Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely, no doubt about that. Anything which is new, anything which makes you think beyond the routine and beyond the mundane. Unfortunately, let me admit it that our education system does a wonderful job of killing creativity. So we have spent years and years in the education system where our teachers have told us that is not in the syllabus, that is not in the portion. And you will not get marks if you try to think by yourself. You have to follow this. But I think as we grow older, we can forget that we went to school and college and all that. And we can start thinking on our own, isn't it? And life has no syllabus. Life has no restriction of portions. Anything and everything of life is there. Even a simple thing like going out in nature, you don't have to take your holidays in Singapore or Switzerland or whatever it is. You go out into the nature, even a few miles from your concrete jungle, spend time with nature. There is so much to learn over there. Travel, meeting different types of people, that itself stimulates the mind so much. Oh, here people think this way, here people behave this way,
Yeah.
here people eat this way. That is how our mind is getting stimulated. And these are the simple things that all of us should be practicing.
Yeah, and I think life is the greatest teacher, Dr. Khwaja, much
Absolutely.
more than school itself.
Yes.
You also mentioned earlier while speaking that it's important to dwell on the positive memories, on the happy times. So, how does
Yes.
consciously revisiting these memories and these good moments help us emotionally, help our mental well-being?
Yeah. Part of the reason why we think negatively is because our elders have always been cautioning us. Don't talk to strangers, don't go out alone. If you do that, one monster will come and eat you up. Don't trust these people. And as children, we also overhear our adults, unfortunately, gossiping about somebody. That neighbor, they're not very nice people. They're so horrible people. This one does there. My boss is so bad. It gets ingrained in us in our formative years. But at some point, we need to start breaking free from that. We have to tell ourselves that, yes, even if our elders told that, they did it with good intentions because they wanted to protect us when we were vulnerable and when we were innocent children. But today, no such thing is there. So even if I've had some bad experiences, somebody cheated me of money, somebody was rude to me, it has happened and nothing. In fact, I can use it as a stepping stone. Next time, I can be a little more careful in money matters.
Yeah.
So even though I've lost that money, that person in a way has done me a favor that today I will not invest even a single rupee without checking out. So that lesson I've learned from this person who cheated me. And then, like I was telling you earlier, from the simplest people to the best of people, I did another transaction with somebody and it went so smoothly. That person was so kind and so nice. It was a
Yeah.
huge transaction involving a huge sum of money. But at every point, that person was very, very accommodative and very nice to me, and the whole transaction went smoothly. We take it for granted.
Mm.
1 year later, 10 years later, also, I should remember that. And like we
Mm.
were talking earlier, have gratitude.
Yeah.
Gratitude, firstly, to that person. When we said, no, that we should have different types of people who can I not call him up once and say, you may or may not remember, 10 years back, we had done this business transaction, etc. I still remember how good it was and how well you went through these things. I just thought I'll say, hello, how is life treating you? And can we meet up sometime or something like that? And also gratitude to life itself, that life has treated me well. I could have been cheated in that transaction. I could have had a bad experience about that, but I didn't. I actually had a good experience with that thing. Even though I was not so knowledgeable, I could have been cheated by somebody, but I was not. And that is what is very, very important.
I think the important aspect in life very often is how people treat us and how we treat them. That is
Yes.
the transaction which is the important part of life.
Yeah. In fact, now that you mentioned it, I would like all of us to reflect, including me. I keep talking about how people treated me. Do I talk about how I treated people?
Yeah.
I went to this party, or I was in this meeting, or I was taking a walk in my neighborhood, or whatever it is. I will always comment on X was good, Y was not all that good, Z was like this, and this one was like this, everything. But do I reflect that here was this person smiling at me, but I was so caught up in my own this thing that I ignored him and I went away? I will always give an excuse. No, no, I was busy. I was going to pick up somebody and I was in a hurry. That's why I didn't. Whatever may be your reason. He smiled at you and you ignored him. Have I learned that lesson to say next time I'm not going to do it?
Correct.
Or even to the extent that when I see him next time, I'm going to go up to him and say, last week we were passing by and I just got a glimpse of you smiling at me, but I was so busy catching up with something. I'm sorry I ignored you. that person will really be nice to you after that.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And like you said, happy thoughts, gratitude, and saying sorry, I think is another critical part, which you
Yes,
so
yes.
rightly brought up. We find it very difficult to apologize.
You know, and particularly as we grow older,
Yes.
somehow, old age is supposed to give us that wisdom where we don't make mistakes. We keep telling the children, you should say sorry, you should say sorry, but we don't do it.
So, if someone here listening today wanted to make just a few small changes towards a healthier and more fulfilling life, what daily simple practices would you recommend to
Yeah.
start with?
Yeah. Firstly, of course, the physical health, because as we have discussed, the body does deteriorate. The body will not be as strong and as healthy as it was in the earlier years. So, what am I anticipating and doing about it? Many of us do these things like health insurance and this and that.
Yeah.
Good. But that is not the end all and be all of it. What am I doing at a practical level in terms of exercise, for example, or whatever, physical activity and so many such things. In fact, I'm a strong believer that the people who go to the gym and spend 1.5 hour rigorously working out and then spend the next 12 hours in front of a laptop, they are doing a disservice to their body. I think you should spend 15 minutes early morning doing Surya Namaskar or getting the fresh, clean air before the pollution starts. Then after lunch, take a nice short stroll outside your workplace. In
Yeah.
the evening, when the sun is setting, again go out and do something. And this is more so when we are aging and our body is not fit for that 1.5 hour in the gym or that rigorous jog or whatever it is. We don't need it. We should
Yeah.
see our lifestyle, even 2, 3 generations back, was physical exercise from morning to evening. That is
Hmm.
what kept our forefathers much healthier than what we are today. So people
Yeah.
wonder this man was so fit, he used to do all this. How come he had a heart attack? That is on the physical side.
Yeah.
And as we discussed, equally important, maybe more important, is on the mental side. Starting with this simple thing of acknowledging, having gratitude, being happy with what you have. If you can just list out everything that life has given you, I got a house, I got a good family, or I got whatever, small, small things and all these things. This it starts with that. And then, as we already discussed, using all parts of your brain. See, you don't have to be an artist or a painter or something like that. If you feel doing something creative, the other day I was just looking at a small, what do you call it, online lesson on how
Hmm.
to draw stick figures. You see those stick figures, you have a round head and 2 hands and 2 legs and all that. There are
Yeah.
beautiful short, tutorials online which teach you how to draw stick figures. Now, I don't
Hmm.
have to be an artist or a painter or something to draw stick figures, but if I can do that, and maybe one day I can just sit and gather 2, 3 small children and say, "Hey guys, I've got this thing. Come, let's draw it. Now you draw and show me, and I will help
Yeah.
you with that." Wonderful. So, like that, activities which are beyond your routine, what you are already used to the extent that I see people who even look at particular pages of the newspaper. They will only look at the finance thing, or they will
Yeah.
only look at the sports pages, or they will only look at, that politics or whatever it is. Even
Right.
if you do a simple thing like reading the newspaper, which of course a lot of people have already given up, but if you do that, can you make it a habit to read it from end to end? There's something you have
Hmm.
to learn. Even if you're not interested in sports, there's something you get to learn. You're nothing
Yeah.
not interested in politics, you get something to learn. That is how you keep your mind involved and active.
And yet there will be people who are over 50 who feel uncertain, they feel stuck, they're worried that their meaningful years are behind them. What would you say to them?
Yes. And let me tell you, That doesn't happen at 50. I have counseled, just to give you an example, recently a 26-year-old who said, "Sir, I cannot get along with these youngsters in my team." What do you mean by youngsters? No, they've just passed out this year or last year, and their thinking is so different. I've already been working 4 years and I'm the team lead and I'm this, but I can't get along with them. I was visualizing he's 26. When he is 66, how is he going to get along with
Yeah. Yeah.
people? So it is a mindset. It is a mindset that, you start thinking that way, the rest of my years are over or this is not good and all that. I used to have the same type of thing, people, complaining that after I did my whatever degree and all that, I had an opportunity to do an MBA. I did do it. And that's why I lost out on promotions and this and that. And I think my best years are over. Now I'm not going to make it to the top levels and this and that.
Mm.
Now that's a very, very negative outlet.
Yeah.
If you have that thing that, yes, it would have been better if I had done that. In fact, one of my favorite authors, Wayne Dyer,
Mm.
Waynedyer. Wayne
Yeah.
Dyer has written a lot of good books. One of his mantras, I would say, is always be for something and never against something.
Mm.
So let's say I don't like this house that I am living in. If I keep complaining that this house is horrible, it gets too hot in the summer, or it is leaking, or there's too much noise outside the door, and this and that, I want to go somewhere else and live in a better way. I will go from the frying pan to the fire.
Yeah.
But if I say, again, we come back to gratitude.
Yeah.
I am so thankful that I have a roof over my head. I have a house, a small house, no doubt, a rickety house, but a house all the same. So first, let me acknowledge that I have a house. Even if I don't change, I can continue to live here for the rest of my life with a little bit of inconvenience. But
Yeah.
I think I deserve a better house. I think my hard-earned savings and all that can be put to use.
Yeah.
I think I can use my contacts and resources to try and find out how the other localities are and how the other houses are. And then I make the change, I will definitely find the change better. So those who stick to the past and think that my best years are over, there is nothing like that. If you see some of the most successful people, the classic example which everybody gives is of Abraham Lincoln. He failed in every possible attempt at whatever he tried to do, till at the age of 62 or something. He tried to become the president of USA and he succeeded.
Yeah.
Now, if he had looked back at his track record and said that my best years are over, I tried to become a senator, I didn't succeed. I tried to be a governor, I didn't succeed. I tried this, I didn't succeed. He would have never had that drive to take that plunge into becoming the president. And of course, he was one of the best presidents that the country had.
So then, is reinvention always about something new, or can it simply mean being fully yourself or being more authentic, just being true?
There's that proverb, no, which says that you know great people or winners don't do things different things. They do things differently.
Differently. Yeah.
So it is not that I have to do different things. That if I was a banker now, I will become a lawyer, or if I was this, I will become that. I don't have to do different things. I have to
Yeah.
do things differently. And that is comparatively much easier actually to uh, do. So if I can say whatever it is, I am in this situation, I am in this thing, what can I do? I have a little, let's say, issue with my grandchild. I can't change my grandchild. I can't abandon my family, but can I do things differently? Instead of complaining, saying that this grandchild is troubling me, can I say what changes can I bring within myself to be able to get along better with this person? And for that, there is this wonderful thing called empathy. Can I put myself in the shoes of the other person and think, He is all of 6 years old. I am 60 years old. Can I think, visualize, and understand what goes on in the mind of a 6-year-old of today? Again, a fundamental mistake that we make is, yes, once upon a time I was also 6 years old. But I was 6 years old, according to this kid, when it was the Stone Age. He probably thinks that I grew up in Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, or something
Yeah.
like that. So remove that, wipe the slate clean, and say, this is a 21st century child. He is 6 years old. He is a digital native. Now, what is going on in his mind and what will help me? Because he's important to me. I want to build a good relationship with him. How do I go about doing it?
So, Dr. Khwaja, we spoke about lovely concepts like laughter, positivity, gratitude, authenticity, being able to say sorry to people. So, I think there are so many things that people can take away from this.
And they're
Before,
part of that reinventing.
and yeah,
That's
and
why I
we,
start off by saying it's not a one-day process. It's not a eureka moment. It is something where I start thinking, yes, I think I need to give more importance to gratitude, or I need
yeah,
to give more importance to adapting, or more to my physical health or my mental health. It's an ongoing and a continuous process.
true. So, before I open the forum for our audience to ask questions, I had one or two of my own, with your permission, if I may ask you.
Yes, please.
So, in this Wisdom Circle community, which is seasoned professionals, older than 50, of course, looking for second careers, we are often told that one has to discover purpose as we age. I
Yeah.
just thought I'd get your, ideas on that.
If my purpose of life is served by my second career, I'm very lucky. If
Yeah,
both of them match, I am a very, very fortunate person. But it does not happen all the time.
yeah,
I may have a different purpose, but I may be, having an expertise in a different area, and I may be wanting to do something. Let me accept it. I want a livelihood. I'm not so old and so informed that I'm just going to sit at home doing nothing. I do want to be a productive member of society, and I want to do something. Maybe I want to earn money or whatever it is. So, as long as my intention is clear, I am doing it for this purpose, to keep myself occupied, to see to it that I don't become old and infirm by sitting at home, and also to earn some extra money which will be useful to me in my later years.
yeah.
But that is not my purpose in life. So, what is my purpose in life? My purpose in life can be to learn how to draw stick figures. My purpose in life can be to make sure that I make friends with this 6-year-old grandchild. And purpose of life, remember, keeps changing. There is nothing called a single purpose of life. There is no self-actualization where one fine day you say, oh, I've got this enlightenment and I sat under the bodhi tree and I'm this great person. It doesn't happen that way. Your purpose of life can change. I may have certain commitments to my family, so that's my purpose. I want to make sure that my family gets the best of everything, so that I made it into a purpose of life.
Yeah.
Tomorrow they are independent, they are on their own. In fact, they don't want me interfering in their life. They say, okay, thank you for whatever you've done, but now let us lead our own lives. Don't keep
Yeah.
poking your nose into everything that we are doing.
Yeah.
There comes the magnanimity and the flexibility to say, I am going to change my purpose of life.
Hmm.
And it can be something totally different. There is nothing to feel shy if I'm making that change. Circumstances make us think that way, and we should think that way.
And Dr. Khwaja, what would your advice be to people who have been maybe in professional careers and then they complain about a loss of identity when they step away from their jobs?
Mhm.
Because their jobs have defined them, right? And it's a cape that they wear. So, how
Yes,
do they cope with this feeling?
yes. You'll be surprised at how many people do that.
Yeah.
I would be doing, for example, a management development program for senior executives in some reputed organization. I stopped for a minute and I tell them, I'm going to ask you a question. Please write down on a piece of paper the first answer that comes to you within 15 seconds. Here they are ready with their pen and paper. And I ask them, who are you? You'll be amazed at the puzzled look that they give. Sir, who are you? Meaning, what are you asking about, and in what context are you asking? I said, no context. Who are you? And there are people who write, I am Deputy General Manager Quality Control.
Yeah.
And that is when I tell them, the day you are no longer Deputy General Manager Quality Control, do you convert to dust? Do you stop existing? No, you don't. You may probably have 40 years after you start being Deputy General Manager Quality Control. What are you thinking? There are oversimplistic people who write down, I'm a human being. Of course, you're a human being. You wouldn't be sitting here if you are not a human being. I don't admit dogs and cats into this uh, program. I know you're a human being. So, what's so great about it? And if you don't have your own identity beyond your designation and your profession, why do you expect the world to treat you nicely? If you're a human being, there are 8 billion human beings. You're one of them. So nobody cares for you. And then they complain. Nobody bothers about me. Nobody cares about me. Because you don't care for yourself. So I would request people to keep asking themselves this question, who am I? It can keep changing, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But they have to know what they are and who they are beyond their designation. I've seen ladies, saying, I'm a mother of 2 children. If you are a mother of 5 children, would you be a different human being? If you did not have children, would you be a different human being? No. These are all roles that we play, and never allow your roles to become you. You are much more than the roles that you are playing.
I had read a line that work is what you do, not who you are.
Exactly. Exactly.
Dr.
That's
Khwaja, thank you so much for all your words of wisdom. I think I can go on talking to you for another hour, but I must give an opportunity for the questions here on this platform. So my
sure.
colleague Mansi can coordinate if there are any questions, Mansi, or people can raise their hands if they want to ask anything.
Yeah, I think Miss Sujata had a question mid-conversation. I'll just read it out and then we can get to the others. So she's asking, how closely are sense of purpose and cognitive health related?
Little louder, please.
How closely are sense of purpose and cognitive health related?
How?
How closely is purpose related to cognitive health?
Yes, it is very closely related. The more you have a purpose, a direction, or whatever it is, your mental health improves significantly. And when I say purpose of life, as I told earlier, I'm repeating again, it may not be something fantastic like I want to, win the Nobel Prize, or I want to do this or that. We have people well into their 80s who are volunteers with our helping hands, who go to hospitals and just sit and help the patients who have come there, illiterate people and this and that. But they have made that into a purpose of life. Life has been good to me. I have earned, I've done everything. Now, a few hours, if I just sit and help people, they make it a purpose of life. And you should see how good their cognitive skills are, how agile they are, and how sharp their minds are. There are 5 people in front of them. One is asking for ophthalmology. One is saying that I want a wheelchair. One is saying something else, and they can respond to them like no, such a jiffy. You have to actually see that to experience how cognitive abilities remain sharp, particularly in your later years, if you have something purposeful to do. There's only one example I'm giving you.
Mansi, is there another question?
Yes, there are multiple questions, but I think Miss Shashi and Miss Shikha also have their
Yeah,
hands raised, so maybe
sure,
we can take one of them and then we can get to this.
sure.
Yes, Miss Shikha, would you like to go ahead and ask the question? Late here.
Okay, I have
Okay.
unmuted myself. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I don't have a question. I have a thought which I'm very keen on sharing, if you permit me.
Yes.
My thought is I call myself 67 years young and vibrant Shikha because I genuinely believe that the most important thing to stay young, to stay sharp, is to stay enthusiastic, to stay hungry, to stay curious, to keep learning. And my all-time favorite British author, poet, Robert Browning, he wrote a poem in the 18th century, 19th century, and he said, "Come walk with me, my friend. The best is yet to be."
Yes,
That is
yes.
the kind of spirit to which I salute. And I try to live by that maxim every single moment of my earthly existence. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's this friend of mine who says that I am 16 years old with another 44 years of extra experience.
Yes.
Yes, who's
Thank
next?
you,
Yeah.
ma'am. Ms. Shashi, would you like to go ahead and ask your question?
Yes. Good evening. My question is, how can I or anyone define um, identity? As you said, if we are human being, that is not our identity. If we express ourselves by our profession, that is not our identity. Then
Yes,
what is the way to express our identity? What
yes.
we can?
Yeah, it could be just about anything. I cannot speak on behalf of others, but I'll give you a few examples. I'm a nature lover.
Example, I also want an example.
Sorry.
I also want to know any example that I can define my identity also on the
Yes,
base.
yes, yes, yes. As I said,
Oh,
who am I? I may be a nature lover. I may be a person who thoroughly enjoys, retro music. I'm a person who is curious to read anything that comes in my realm. I'm a person who likes to explore different types of people or different types of cultures. I'm a foodie. I love to I enjoy different types of food. That is what makes me as a person, regardless of my roles that I'm playing or my designation or my profession or whatever it is.
thank you.
Thank you, Shashi, ma'am. So I think we have time for one or two more questions, Swati.
Yeah, so before continuing with the questions,
Yeah.
I think Pratishta from Marzi wanted 2 minutes to speak to the audience. Pratishta, are you here?
Yes, hi everyone.
I,
Hi, I hope I'm audible.
yes, you are.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ali and Swati ma'am, for such an enriching and thought-provoking session. I'm sure today's conversation has helped widen perspectives around what it truly means to reinvent life after 50 with openness, purpose, and possibility. I'm Pratishta, for those of you who don't know me, and I manage the community at Marzi, where I also host online sessions similar to the one that we've all attended today. Marzi is India's premium community for the fabulous 50 plus, whom we proudly call Generation Evergreen. People who see this phase of life not as slowing down, but as a time to explore more, connect meaningfully, and to live fully. At its heart, Marzi is about belonging, a space to meet like minded people, build genuine friendships, and be part of a warm, vibrant community that celebrates independence, curiosity, purpose, and joyful living. Along with our online experiences, Marzi also hosts a variety of offline meetups across Bangalore and Mumbai. We will be reaching to other cities, but currently Bangalore and Mumbai, because we truly believe meaningful connections become even more special in real life away from the screen. Now, all you, and for all of you who have attended today's session, we'd love to invite you to experience Marzi firsthand. You're welcome to choose any one of the following meetups completely on the house from Marzi. The upcoming meetups in May, we're having a beer and board games meetup happening tomorrow evening, 5 p.m. in Sadashiv Nagar. We're having a pickleball happening on Tuesday, 12th May in Indranagar, 5 p.m. There's a Circle of Philosophy, Saturday, 16th May in Koramangala, 5 p.m. again. And a Tambola happening on Sunday, 17th May, 3:30 at Shantinagar, Hara Chambers. I know it's too much to grasp, so don't worry, I've made it simple for you. All you need to do is click on the link that I'll be sharing in the chat and choose the meetup that you'd like to attend. Please read through it. Choose the meetup that you'd like to attend, and our team will reach out to you and help you register. I'd like to again remind you all, please, you all are most welcome to choose any one, and it is completely on the house from us to you, from Marzi to you. All right, I'll just be sharing the link. And back to you, Swati ma'am.
Thank you, Pratishtha. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, Marzi, I think we can take maybe 2 more questions before closing.
Yeah. So I think another question that had come in the chat was basically, just a second, from Miss Anubha. How can we make genuine and meaningful connections in this age after retirement?
How can we
make meaningful and genuine connections in this age after retirement?
In fact, I would say more meaningful connections happen after retirement.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of programs for, let's say, income tax commissioners. I tell them that as long as you're stuck with that designation of income tax commissioner, nobody will think of you as an individual. They can only think of you as an income tax commissioner. Either you'll get sycophants or you'll get people who are scared of you. But the day you get rid of that baggage and say, I am XYZ, a person, a human being, your connections can be much better. Only thing, I again repeat, don't try to talk about the past. Don't try to tell people, I was income tax commissioner, I was doing this in 1987, I did that, in 1994, I did that. Nobody would like to connect with you. Get rid of all that. Make a clean slate. Like the topic of today, reinvent yourself as a person who has had a wonderful time in whatever job you've done, whatever designation you had, you enjoyed it. Close that chapter and say, today I have the opportunity to be me, minus all the qualifications, designations, and all that. And I would like to do whatever I want to do. I would like to take interest in people. And I've seen innumerable people who have done that. And they have continued to be very, very active and agile 10, 20, 30 years after their retirement.
Can I ask a question, please? Or rather, I would like to share something. Can I do it, Swati? Out of turn?
Who is speaking right now?
I'm Chanda Hate speaking.
Yes, Chanda.
I just want to, yeah.
Yeah, I think Shefali and Gautam are waiting.
Okay, let them ask their question.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't have a question. I just have a point of view to share with the others.
Sure,
That's all.
sure.
Where
Let
I'll take
them-
only one sentence to do it.
Okay, all right. Shefali, would you like to ask your question?
Good evening, all. Good evening, sir. My question would be that when we say, who am I? Whatever we spoke, sorry if my understanding is not matching yours, but then when we say that I'm so and so, or I'm good at this, or whatever, who am I? I am a foodie, or whatever examples you give. But I think it is more about inward, isn't it? That this all is all materialistic things where we are talking about that I am so and so, and I'm a foodie, or I'm a critic, or whatever.
Yeah.
But is it not about the internal journey as a soul, that who am I is a more important question than identifying yourself with any of the whatever we mentioned. I'm sorry, sir, if I'm wrong, but I think that is worldly this to get to know who am I think you have to do an inward journey to,
Yes,
and it takes kind of
yes,
ages.
definitely. You're not wrong. That is a good perspective and a way of living. See, in human behavior, there is no absolutes. There is no right and wrong. Everybody has their own experiences. Everybody has their own way. I try something and I fail. You try something and you succeed. That's how it goes. So be yourself. Go ahead and do it. Don't doubt yourself. So we are coming to 5:30. Do you
Yes.
take the last question now?
Yes, I'll take the last question. Gautam, a short, quick question, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Dr. Khwaja, for your insightful talk. It really helped all of us. I have just a question. You can say it as an observation too, that in life, there are several disturbances, noises, and distractions. So while setting the goal just to explore a new vistas of life and carry things forward, how to mitigate things? Is there any set norms, any formula, or just we have to take as life comes?
Yes, one very simple way is to set what we call as process goals and not destination goals. I am going to make more friends, or I am going to learn some new, games, or I am going to, explore different new areas. Instead of saying this year I should make a trip to Australia, that's what we call as a destination goal. And then distractions come in, something happens, and we don't get it, and we get disappointed. So if it's a process goal which says, I would like to do something, I have been going short distances. This year, I'd like to see if I can go a longer distance and have a vacation in a new place. These are what we call as process goals. Whatever the distractions are there, if it's a process goal, it's an ongoing thing and you continue. Right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Khwaja, I want to take this opportunity to thank you. And it's been a great honor to speak with you. I really feel privileged. So on behalf of Marzi and Wisdom Circle, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for spending your 1 hour with us and giving us such wisdom.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Chanda, would you like to?
I just want to share one point. What Dr. Khwaja and everybody others are also talking about, very well meaning, but we have not looked at the part where if you have that enthusiasm, it's not necessary that your spouse may share the same enthusiasm. All right. Now, would you let the spouse push you down, or are you going to maintain your own enthusiasm? I go through it from morning till night.
Yeah.
Okay,
I am
a post-cancer patient.
Is a wonderful
I'm a
topic.
post-cancer patient who's having
Correct.
arthritis and all those problems,
Yes,
but you
yes.
have to move them aside and
Yes.
keep going on. I'm 84. I'm launching my own HR practice, and some of them say, yeah, it will be good, go ahead. But others say, at 84 with your silver hair, not even coloring your hair, who will look at you? But I'm sure people will look at me. So I'm saying also, you may have the spouse not sharing the same thing. While you shouldn't ignore them or insult them or be rude to them, but you can put them on the, do whatever is required, but continue with your own enthusiasm.
That's right. That's right.
Come what may, do what you want to do. I love to watch the IPL matches, and I do it every day.
That this itself can be a good topic to spend an hour.
That's why I brought it up.
We shall do that.
Maybe Swati, next time you can even have this topic covered.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving me that time when you're running short of time.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.